Hello, everyone. This is Tom, your host for the Hidden Truths channel. It's March 18th, 2025. I want to do a quick video this evening about a couple things. First, the JFK FBI assassination files, the FBI files on it that are going to be released, okay? And people are getting excited. I realize people want the truth, but see, they're just releasing the files, not the truth. People need to realize our government is never going to tell on itself, okay? Ever. We still don't know the truth behind the Lincoln assassination, all right? So, I mean, they're just not going to come out with the truth. Yeah, we're going to come out with the files that everybody's allowed to see, right? Now, anyway. I like to see the real files. But anyway, give us files, but not truth. The truth is never going to come out. Just like the Epstein list, truth is never going to come out because it just wouldn't be good for the people in charge or for our government. I mean, if the truth came out, now let's say Johnson and the CIA were behind the JFK assassination, which obviously the FBI files aren't going to say that because Johnson was president. Okay, if that came out that our government actually killed our own leader, well, I would look bad. Anyway, the truth ain't going to come out. It's never going to come out. Files, I can't believe it's they're not redacted. But like I say, that's just, like the two ledgers, the red and the black ledger, okay? You don't show the government the black one. That's what it's coming down to. They're not going to show us people the truth behind it. If you're hoping for the truth, or you're going to be able to figure it out with the information you glean from the files, good luck. It probably leads you in 50 different directions. I'm not going to chase that, go down that rabbit hole, okay? Because they're not releasing the truth, okay? Anyway, and then the second subject, which is more critical. I hope everybody realizes that we are in the beginning stages of a civil war in this country. I mean, right now, Elon Musk is feeling it. I shouldn't say Elon Musk. Not him. The people who buy his vehicles, okay, and his dealerships, people who sell his cars, they know we're in a civil war, okay? And how long do you think it's going to be before these people stop taking it out on cars and start taking it out on people that support Donald Trump and Elon Musk? Okay, the violence has already started. And let's say the violence doesn't get to the point where we actually have military on the street in 4 years. Well, when the Democrats take office again, they're going to come back after us full vengeance, us conservatives. Okay, when's civil war going to start? When one side decides they've been pushed enough. Now, the left is definitely more violent. Okay, we never forgot that. Mostly fiery, but mostly peaceful protests. Okay, BLM, burn, loot, and murder. All right, we haven't forgotten none of that. So you actually can say we're in a civil war before Biden even came to office, which I would agree with. But the thing is, our side as conservatives, we take a lot of crap, okay? We allow our lives to be violated quite a bit by the government before we get excited. Excited enough to where we're going to want to take on the government, all right? But the other side, they're suffering. These people are suffering from mental illness. They're suffering because they're finally not getting their way. They're a little child who's not getting their way. All they do is scream democracy, but we're a constitutional republic. So we vote a different democracy in, right? A conservative democracy, and now they're just all losing it, taking it out on cars. All we need is the spark. Something for them to galvanize behind, okay? And it doesn't take much. I mean, they got behind George Floyd, one of the, extremely he was a criminal. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They want to get behind him and start mostly peaceful protests because George Floyd all over the country. What's the next spark going to be? And then who are the victims going to be? Are they going to be marching through the streets in these, liberal towns? Okay, you live in a Democrat town when this all does start exploding. It's going to be far worse in 2020. You got a Trump bumper sticker on your car, forget it. But this is where we are. We are actually in the beginning of a civil war. The violence has started. Okay? And pretty soon it's not going to be people against cars, but people against people. Anyway, what's coming is going to make 2020 look like a block party, okay? A picnic. And it's all brought on because the other side feels they're not being heard, and and they feel that the other side is pushing their values or the way they want them to live on. And I don't agree with that, okay? I don't think there's any really conservatives that are going up to a liberal and say, you got to live like me or you're never going to be happy. Okay, we don't try to push our lifestyles off on other people. We just want you to be free so you can live your own lifestyle. But if it's a little crazy, keep it in your bedroom. Okay? But the other side, they're always trying to convince us that they're right. If you got to convince me, you're really trying to convince yourself. But anyway, Civil War started. How long is it going to take before we actually have fighting in the streets and a high velocity exchange of ideas between civilians? I don't know. But let's just say the left is starting to get worked up a little bit. And the more Trump does what the voters expected him to do, the ones that elected him, the more the other side's going to come on hinge. But I will say Democrats, you're going to need at least 20%, okay? In the last poll NBC poll that came out, where 7% of the population agree with you Democrats, so you got a ways to go yet. Anyway, this is how crazy it's getting. This is what happens when you let a spoiled child always have his way. Anyway, hope everybody's ready for what's coming. Because, civil wars get nasty. Rome had 4 of them. Every one bloodier than the last one. And our first one was pretty bloody. 600,000 dead. So anyway, people were angry back then, but people are extremely angry now. And all I know is, for me, they best just stay away from me. I'm not dealing with this. I don't want to hate anything. I just want to live my life. But if you're going to come and try to be stupid around me because, I don't agree with how you live your life, then we're going to have problems. By the way, you better get everything in order because this could blow up at any time. It's easy to get focused on stuff that's happening overseas. Well, your angry neighbor isn't overseas, and your angry neighbor is far more dangerous to you than Iran right now, okay? So anyway, all I know is the left is angry about everything. You can't please them. And I just don't think they're going to make it another 3-4 years under Trump if they got to do years under J.D. Vance. And they'll be the new terrorist organization in the United States. Well, IEDs along the road and stuff. You just watch. They will turn this into a war zone. Okay? If they can't have control, they're going to destroy it. And all of us, if they can. But I'm not too worried about the Call of Duty warriors, whatever. But anyway, everybody needs to know we are in a civil war. Okay? And we're not going to get rid of the cancer in this country, so it's going to be a war that's going to have to eliminate it. Because they think they can win, you know, they're going to stand their ground, and they think they can win, and I know we can win. But then again, I'm not suffering from mental illness and stuff like that. But everybody needs to prepare. Civil war is here, and it's just going to start expanding and start getting more violent. You know, and then people will start dying, and then we'll just get used to that. Anyway, crazy times we live in. Well, it'd be just nice if everybody could just get along, sit beside the fire, and sing Kumbaya, right? Anyway, but it's hard to do when you got men who think they can get pregnant and want to wear dresses. World's crazy. But anyway, everybody have a good night. That's all I have to say. Talk to you later.